little video.
Teams would change their logos and change their colors, and the Twins were stuck with all these hats that they were no good anymore. They either had to sell them off to people who were running flea markets to get, 10 cents on the dollar for them. In those days, they carried all the out-of-town teams, which they haven't done in years. So I would just grab one, and it just sort of evolved into doing research on using old pictures and video clips, and there's books out there on old uniforms. I have a book around the corner on old uniforms, and I started using the Twins connection, the D'Angelo's connection, the old Roman cap company, Roman Pro, which was down in Brockton. I would give them the specs on some of the hats that I needed made that weren't being sold. There were pretty small differences in type of color, the button on the top, things like that. Types of hats stores would never sell because they weren't that big a deal, but to me, I needed them to fill a collection. Like you see here, there's a very subtle difference between these two hats in terms of, that's a little more orange, that's a little more red. This is the old New York Giants model hat from the 1930s. And these two here, the difference is basically the trim on the outside of the NY. That's the only difference. So you're not going to find those in a store. I had to get that made. This particular hat here, the 1936 model New York Giants hat, I have autographed by Bill Terry, the last 400 hitter in the National League, and Carl Hubble, the meal ticket, he was called, before Kevin Garnett was the big ticket. So you got Carl Hubble and Bill Terry, probably the two most famous pre-San Francisco Giants ever. Mm-hmm. No offense to Willie Mays, who's on this hat here. I got Willie McCovey on this one here.
Now, I noticed, now hang on a second.
Yeah.
You've also got not just the hat, but you have accompanying balls.
Yes.
And does it match the autograph on the hat?
Pretty much. Obviously, all of the balls are with the teams where they were made famous. Now, in this case here, Bobby Thompson is not on one of my hats, but Thompson and Branca are on this ball, and anybody who knows baseball knows that story. Shot heard around the world. Mays is here. Marichal. It may not be exactly on the ball. Yeah. Barry Bonds is over there. We won't get into that because that's not a good topic. Orlando Cepeda. I could have put him with the Cardinals, Red Sox, Braves, but to me, he's a giant.
I'm Max Kleiman for YBA Sports.
Giving young people the chance and the training to be young broadcasters. That's how YBA started.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Back Talk Entertainment.
So Ashley, why are businesses using Facebook?
Well, the really cool thing about Facebook...
Over 370 hours of live student-produced webcast, including the first professional sports event broadcast entirely by kids. That is only the beginning of the story of Young Broadcasters of America.
The parents understand the importance of oral communication in this world of texting. So we teach Generation Text to talk.
This is the oral communications piece that nobody else has.
With a whole generation communicating more through technology than face-to-face, Young Broadcasters of America has created a curriculum for voice articulation that is now available at YBA Online.
IPI stands for inflection, pronunciation, intonation, and enunciation.
Connecting professional broadcasters with young people has given the next generation of TV talent an edge in communication in school and in life.
What opportunity do you have as a kid to get in front of a camera, to get behind a mic, to learn how to actually do it? This is the only opportunity he's ever had.
Justin, it's good to be sitting right next to you.
Nice to be here.
They learned everything. They learned behind the camera, in front of the camera, editing, just so much poise, and they really enjoyed it. It was an awesome experience.
Perhaps best of all, the young people who train with Young Broadcasters of America have a blast creating a new kind of cool.
Oh! And that's how we do it at YBA.
Once I was introduced to the whole broadcasting world a year and a half ago, I realized this is what I want to do.
You bring the personality within your heart out onto the set, and you show everyone who you really are. Now his old friends are helping to honor Ace Bailey's name.
He was a very important part of our team, but more importantly, he was a great friend to all of us.
YBA builds confidence, develops communication skills so necessary in life. Now, YBA is bringing its training to adults and the corporate community, which is desperate to undo what technology has done.
This is an intimidating guy, I got to tell you. But I couldn't, if you talk hitting, talk baseball, 3 things you can get to Ted Williams: military, fishing, and hitting. If you talk those 3 things, you're in. So these back in the days when the Otis Saga was available to everybody. So I walked in with this in my little gym bag, and he's in the library of the Otis Saga holding court, and I'm scared to death. My knees are shaking. I'm in the presence of you know, majestic, you know, glory here. And finally, I got a break in the conversation, and I slid this next to him, and I told him I was a season ticket holder, and I've been a big fan, and my father told me all the stories, blah, blah, I'm schmoozing left and right, and I said, I really consider it an honor. I just had a baby son, and I'm going to teach him how to hit, and this is my Bible, if you'd sign this for me. No problem. He couldn't have been nicer.
All right, hi everybody. Welcome back to Sports World Redux. I'm Jimmy Young, hosting today's show along with good friend Phil Castanetti from Sports World in Saugus, the largest memorabilia store in New England. Now, Phil, you always seem to get the unique item, okay? And sure enough, we're sitting in front of the latest unique item. It is the backdrop for the NBA Finals from the 2008 season that the Celtics won their 17th championship. How did you, A, find out where to get this, and then how did you come into it?
You know what it is, Jimmy? Being around so long, every nice piece of memorabilia usually comes through me. You know, there's really not a lot of places left, memorabilia shops, and you know, I have people that work in the arenas and hotels, whatever, and everyone's always looking to make a buck. So if it's out there, we usually can get it.
So somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, I just saw something you got to have, Phil."
Right. I came in the store a couple weeks ago, and I said, "That's pretty neat." So, you know, I'm going to keep it for a while. If I don't sell it, I might just cut it up into pieces and frame it with, you know, a Celtics championship picture from that season. So do something, you know, neat with it.
But, you know, based on the road trip that I just had, there are guys out there, and by the way, I've never seen a female who's a collector. Now, I bet you have.
Oh, of course.
I'm sure they're Bruins fans. I'm just going out on a limb.
Mainly.
Mainly Bruins fans, that's right. But females normally, I'll be a little sexist here, won't have a guy's room in the basement like Bibbs has in his basement, like I know plenty of others out there that collect and have it. It is definitely a male sanctuary, if you will, because we love sports. It's what we live for. It's how we escape our worlds. And sure enough, a lot of people have that down in their basements. But this would be a great piece for a guy in the basement.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a one-of-a-kind piece.
Is that not the thing that separates everything in memorabilia, one of a kind, as opposed to one of 1,000?
Right. It is now, because in the mid to late 80s, when the business really took off and the card companies just started overproducing everything, unbeknownst to the collector, and it really ruined the market for years and years. And then, you know, they started buying players' jerseys and bats and shoes and bases and cutting them up, making, you know, bat cards and all kinds of relic cards. You know, and then they ruined the market with that. So they just, instead of keeping things, you know, limited, they just overproduce just to make money for themselves, and end up shooting themselves in the foot, because now it's really back to tops again.